The Seat Arona has been on sale in the UK since 2017, and since then it hasn't really had many changes. However, this is the new Seat Arona, which promises to bring this small SUV up to date against its more modern rivals. But is it any good? In this review, we're finding out. The Seat Arona is best described as a taller, slightly more grown-up version of the Seat Ibiza hatchback. And like its stablemate, it promises to be one of the more enjoyable cars to drive in the class. However, since 2017, most, if not all, of the Arona's rivals have either been through a major update or been replaced by an all-new version entirely. Cars like the Ford Puma, the Nissan Juke, the Renault Captur and Volkswagen T-Cross have all moved a long way in the last 8 years. So now it's Seat's turn to have a go at bringing its second best-selling car up to date and more competitive. When the Arona first arrived, it very much just looked like a shrunken Seat Ateco. And even though they've tweaked the styling up front over the years, it very much has remained the same. So what's new? Well, we've got these slim, full LED headlights, a wider front grille, redesigned front and rear bumpers, different alloy wheel designs and a few more colour options. The Arona's interior is just as smart and user-friendly as before, but the changes in here are really minor. So you've got some new upholstery for the seats and some darker headlining on most versions, and the trim on the air vents are now transparent rather than painted silver. However, one big change for the FR version is that it now comes with sports front seats. Once you're inside, it's very easy to find a comfortable driving position. There's plenty of adjustment for the steering wheel and the seats, and you've got plenty of head and legroom to get comfortable. It's wider and more airy than the Lexus LBX, but a Volkswagen T-Roc is even more spacious. The only slight downside with the Arona is that you don't get adjustable lumbar support at all, even as an option. That's something that the Ford Puma gets and even most versions of the Toyota Yaris Cross. Behind the wheel is an 8-inch digital driver's display as standard, but you can have a larger 10.25-inch option on higher trim levels. This comes with a wider range of layouts, including a full map option, which you can't get on the Ford Puma or Nissan Juke. As for the infotainment screen, you get an 8.25-inch touchscreen as standard, but you can also have the 9.2-inch screen that we've got in here as an option on higher trim levels. It's mounted quite high, so it makes it easy to look at when you're driving, and you've got plenty of shortcuts along the side, and it responds fairly quickly. As we'd expect for a car in 2025, you do get wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard. So while SatNav is still an option, you can at least connect your phone and use something like Google Maps or Waze on your phone instead. Perhaps the best bit about the Arona's interior is how user-friendly it is, and is mostly due to the physical controls on the lower part of the dashboard. In this car, we've got the dual-zone climate control, and it comes with rotary dials and physical buttons, and having that just makes it a lot easier to use and aim for than the touchscreen icons you get in a Ford Puma, or the touch pads that you get in a Volkswagen T-Cross. The Arona's build quality is still very good and stands up fairly well today. True, there are posher rivals like the Audi Q2 and Lexus LBX that use a wider range of nicer materials, but the ones in here are still really dense and nice and soft, and you've got some trim finishes on here, and it generally feels a lot nicer than what you get in a Ford Puma. In terms of storage, you've got a wireless phone charging tray, a couple of cup holders, and a cubby underneath the armrest. The door bins are also quite big and hold more than just a drinks bottle. So overall, the Arona's interior is nicer than what you get in a Captur, if not quite as spacious as what you get in a Volkswagen T-Roc. In the back seats, there's more headroom than what you get in a Juke, and a good amount of knee room for a 6-footer with lots of room for their feet underneath the front seats. Overall, it's more generous in here than it is in an LBX, but if you want to stretch out your legs further, you're better off in the back of a Skoda Kamiq or a Volkswagen T-Roc. Now, unlike the Renault Captur or the Volkswagen T-Cross, you can't slide the Arona's rear bench back and forth, and there is a large centre transmission tunnel that does rob a bit of legroom for the middle passenger. The boot opening is nice and square, and at 400 litres, it's good enough for us to squeeze in 5 carry-on suitcases underneath the parcel shelf. The Skoda Kamiq and Toyota Yaris Cross have a similar 400 litre capacity, but they're able to fit in another couple of cases in their boot. Meanwhile, the Ford Puma is still the champion of the class, with room for 8 suitcases under the parcel shelf. You do get a height adjustable floor as standard, so you can create a small storage area underneath when set to its highest position. This also removes the loading lip at the boot entrance, so it's easier to slide items in and out. But if you need any more space, you can lower the boot floor and fold the rear backrest down in a 60-40 split. When it comes to the Arona's engine choices, there's a range of 3 petrol options. So you still get the entry-level 94 brake horsepower 1 litre version that comes with a 5-speed manual gearbox. Or you could have the 113 brake horsepower version we have here, which comes with a 6-speed manual gearbox or a 7-speed auto as an option. The one that we're driving is the one that we'd recommend because it doesn't feel as sluggish at low speeds and it feels more energetic without costing too much more to buy. There's also a more powerful 1.5 litre with 148 brake horsepower, and that only comes with a 7-speed automatic gearbox. That's much quicker to accelerate, but we reckon most buyers will be happy with the performance that you get from the 1 litre 115 version. The Arona rides well at all speeds and comfortably soaks up bumps and potholes without throwing you around too much. It's not as soft as the Renault Captur, but it is more comfortable than the Ford Puma and the Nissan Juke. When it comes to handling, the Arona is more entertaining and agile than most of its rivals. There's not much body lean, and the steering inspires far more confidence than what you get in the Peugeot 2008 and Renault Captur. However, the Ford Puma is a little bit more fun with sharper steering and even tighter body control. Having said that, the Arona's got a really nice and well-judged ride and handling balance. Road noise is mostly well contained, and there is a little bit of wind noise at high speeds, so if you want something a little bit quieter, it's worth looking at the Audi Q2 or the Volkswagen T-Roc. Official pricing hasn't been confirmed yet, but it is expected to remain at the more affordable end of the class to undercut most of its rivals. The number of trim levels for the Arona have shrunken down to 4, so you've got SE, SE Tech, Style and FR. All versions come with electric front and rear windows, air conditioning, cruise control and alloy wheels. With all versions achieving more than 50 mpg, the Arona shouldn't cost you much to run. However, when compared with full hybrid rivals like the Toyota Yaris Cross and Renault Captur, the Arona will cost slightly more per month via salary sacrifice. And if the Arona is on your company car list, its lower P11D price and slightly lower CO2 output is a little bit more affordable against equivalent petrol engine rivals. That said, while there are no full hybrid Aronas due to arrive, Seat have confirmed mild hybrid versions will join the lineup in 2027. So, the Seat Arona seems to be holding up well against its competitors. All these updates might seem minor, but the Arona remains good to drive and it's kept its user-friendly interior. True, there are more fuel-efficient, more spacious, or even more refined alternatives around, but they cost more in the first place, and it's not like the Arona suffers badly in any of those areas. This remains a very solid small SUV. Thanks for watching this review, and if you'd like to watch another one, click up here. And if you'd like to read about the Arona or any other new car review on the What Car website, head over to the link over here.